obviously is that I wasn't here either.
Correct.
We'd have, we would not be able to pass it then.
Correct. So it's also it's not a statutory requirement to pass or to approve the meeting minutes immediately following a meeting either. I mean, there are times that we do meeting minutes a meeting or two down the road if we aren't able to get to them. So it's entirely possible if the council, if you guys don't feel comfortable voting on that, we just suspend the approval of those minutes until we have the other
Rick here.
Until Rick is able to be here.
I don't have a problem voting for it because I did listen to the meeting, so I don't feel uncomfortable with it, but I didn't know if there was a reason I couldn't.
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay,
no.
so then I think we're okay.
Okay. Any other changes, additions? If not, I guess I'll make a motion to approve the agenda with the modifications that the meeting minutes will be a separate item under 3A and taking out under general business, letter B, due to the fact that it wasn't completed before the meeting. I got a motion?
So moved.
No, I moved.
Oh, second. I'm confused.
Okay, I got a motion and a second to approve the agenda as amended. If there's no other comments, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposition? Okay. So next on the agenda will be 3A, the meeting minutes from the August 4th council meeting minutes. Does anyone have any questions or anything regarding that? If not, I'm looking for a motion to approve the August 4th council meeting minutes.
So moved.
And I will second that. If there's no other comments, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposition?
No opposition, but I will abstain.
And abstain by Maggie. All right. Okay, next on the agenda is the consent agenda. Does anyone have any questions regarding anything else in the consent agenda, the claims for payments or financial summary report? If not, I'm looking for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
I got a motion by Maggie Bass, second by Bruce Wolf for the remaining items in the consent agenda. If there's no other comments, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Okay, consent agenda passes. Next on the agenda is the public invited to be heard on matters not on the agenda. Again, you're not going to have any feedback from the council at that time, but you're welcome to address the council. If anyone would like to, do we have any? Okay, we don't have any on these that actually wrote down, but if anyone would like to speak to the council on anything besides what's on the agenda, you can come and state your name and address and address the council. Again, do we have anyone who would like to address the council on items not on the agenda? Again, if no comments to the council on the items not on the agenda, if not, I guess I'll make a motion to close that on the agenda. Do we need to? You don't need a motion. Okay. Okay, since there was no comments, we can move on to the next item. Public hearings. Now, at the last meeting, we did have a public hearing regarding the resolution for the Economic Development Authority for the City of New Prague. We did have one comment, and at that time, I think we put the public hearing on hold to see if there was any more public hearing, that if anyone else wanted to speak to the public regarding this with Maggie and Bruce here. And then we did not do any activity in regarding that resolution. So I guess I'm going to reopen the public hearing for the resolution 25-08-04-01. I guess I'll make a motion to reopen the public hearing.
Second.
Second by Bruce Wolf. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposition. Okay, at this time, the public can speak on the resolution regarding the economic development, EDA's enabling resolution. Does anyone like to address the council at this time regarding this resolution?
There's nobody signed up to speak for this.
Okay, and we did have one comment, and I think the gentleman is here asking, he did mention about if the city would annex more territory, how was that handled under this resolution? And it was determined that we would have to actually go through the process again and redistrict the city of New Prague at that instance. So if we now have any other comments? If not, I guess I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second by Maggie Bass. Any other questions, comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. In opposition? Okay, the public hearing is closed. Now we're going to basically discuss the resolution. Does anyone have any questions regarding the resolution? I think the EDA did pass the resolution at their last meeting.
So the EDA passed a resolution for the establishing an economic development district.
Yep.
This is the resolution regarding kind of the rules that the EDA operates under.
Okay.
Yeah, I can take it real quick. As I kind of discussed at the last meeting, really these changes came from the city attorney, born out of kind of they're always kind of looking at these resolutions, and especially when the city council directed the EDA to move forward with an EDA lease revenue bond. Really the changes that were implemented in this particular enabling resolution go down to, grab the red line one. On page 5, yes, on page 5 of the resolution, so section 5.16, kind of lining up with the EDA currently working on a strategic plan. Just mentioning in here that the EDA should continue to review their strategic plan annually and then kind of present its general directions to the city council. And then looking at debt issuance in section 6, removing section 6.2 and 6.3. It was the city attorney's interpretation that removing the language in this does not grant or remove any authority given to the EDA that it doesn't already have. Especially with section 6.2, it actually kind of closes up a loop that would get created if the city council, in this case, directed the EDA to issue debt. 6.2 basically stated that the EDA could not issue debt and the city council would issue it in its stance. Well, that circles it back to the city council, and so for the EDA to issue it, 6.2 would need to be removed. It was Scott Riggs' interpretation that 6.1, basically stating the EDA cannot issue debt without approval from the city council, covered the fact that the city council would need to give permission regardless of the reason for the EDA to issue any debt. And so that's kind of where that went.
Okay. Anyone have any questions on the changes to the resolution or changes to the current?
Would you say a grammatical question?
Okay.
And I'm not good at grammar, so 6.5 now currently 6.3 as borrower, as borrow, and lender. Just wondering if that's supposed to read as borrower and lender.
I would say it is, as I'm looking at that. And if the city council would like, I can certainly make sure that is corrected before a signed copy, or for the signature copy. Add an ER to the word borrower in the title. Because to me, I agree that would make sense.
But the abbreviation of borrower, if corrected, and lender is not otherwise a term in the resolution. So who is the borrower and the lender?
I think it's referring to as borrower, when the EDA acts as a borrower.
Yeah.
Or when the EDA acts as a lender, because the EDA can do both.
But, yeah, you're right, it's kind of crossing Ts and dotting Is.
I just bring it up, so we don't need to spend time on it.
No, I guess in my legal opinion is that the sentence should read, because section 6.3 as borrower and lender, that is just a heading. The period ends it, so I think it should read the EDA as borrower and lender, then continue, may borrow for its approved projects or may make purchase loans for economic development, et cetera. So just to be clear that we're talking about the EDA.
I have a question then. And I just want to reiterate or just reaffirm what Scott Riggs told me, because I did meet with him in Josh's office after the EDA meeting, just because I had some questions. So if the EDA may borrow for its approved projects from the city, that would have already been reaffirmed by the city council, right? The approval would have been given. Okay, so,
Correct.
so it doesn't need to be in that section.
Yeah, and I think it actually, let's say it's approved projects, and so I think by having approved projects
Okay.
in there, it's saying that, referencing back up to 6.1, that it got approval from the city council.
Okay, perfect.
Does that make sense, Maggie, what Sean said?
Yeah, that part does, yeah.
Yeah, I guess,
That's not addressing this, the 6.3 as written.
yeah, I mean, if the city council, I guess, as a whole is okay with it, I can change that to borrower and add the language as borrower and lender after the word E EDA.
I think that's more clarifying.
Okay, we want to make those changes.
Do we need to vote on those changes, or
Well, yeah, we have on the
Yeah,
resolution.
so I think
just
you,
on the whole resolution?
so you'd basically say you'd vote on the resolution with those amendments.
As amended,
All right,
yeah.
all right.
So how will that title read?
So it'd read section 6.3 as borrower and lender, period. The EDA, comma, as borrower and lender, comma, may borrow, ... finish it out.
Thank you.
Okay, everyone agree with that changes? If so, I'll take a motion to approve this resolution number 25-08-04-01 with the corrections or the changes that have been discussed.
And are we keeping the numbering sequence of the resolution at 25080401
Yes, we
as
are,
opposed to today's date?
since it was originally presented
Okay.
on that day, and it's a
Okay.
continued item, yes.
Thank you. I'll second the motion.
Okay? So I made the motion, I got a second. Any other questions, comments? Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, any opposition? Okay. Passes 4-0. Next on the agenda, city engineering projects. You got anything for us?
If you have any questions, otherwise it's all in the memo.
Yeah. We're still on schedule, or ahead of schedule?
Yeah, so paving got pushed back 1 week.
Okay.
Paving was supposed to take place next week. It's gonna most likely take place the following week. And then punch list items after that. So yeah, no, everything's going very smooth.
Good,
Even with all the rain, they are still keeping up.
all right. Anyone have any questions for Matt on the engineering projects update? Okay. Next, we go to, there's no ordinances for introduction or no ordinances for adoption. Resolutions, we don't have any resolutions also? So the next is general business, application of a THC establishment license. Are you taking this, Josh, or is Tim gonna take?
I will let Chief Applin take this.
Okay, thank you.
I can't give it back to Josh.
Well, you can. I mean,
No, I'm just kidding.
not a tennis match. We're not going back and forth here.
No, I can take it. There was an application for a new THC license, for the business and a tobacco at 410, Main Street West. As part of the application process, background checks are conducted in accordance with our ordinance, our city ordinance. During that background investigation, a violation, several violations that were conducted and fines were issued by the OCM last year in 2024. Those violations would prohibit that business from operating within the city of New Prague, which is in line with our ordinance 121.03. So I included the violations for your review, if you had time to review those, and you can look at what those are, but those violations essentially would prohibit the licensure of a THC, a new license in the city of New Prague. So I can take any questions, or I think it's fairly straightforward as far as the violations and what the violations were and why they are in violation of our ordinance.
Do those violations stay on record in perpetuity, or do they eventually fall off at some point where we could reconsider the license?
I think the violations in our ordinance are stated within the last 5 years.
Okay.
So anything beyond the 5 years from the time of this conviction would be good unless there were subsequent violations between now and the next application.
Thank you.
And he was applying for both THC and tobacco?
Correct, we are still kind of wrapping up the investigation process on the tobacco at this point, but this would just be for the THC.
Okay.
Within our ordinance, tobacco is handled administratively, and then if for some reason there's any appeals to the decision administratively, that would come to you all.
Okay. Okay, anyone else have any questions for Josh or Tim? If not, I guess I'll look for a motion to deny the application for THC based on our not following our city ordinance.
I'll make a recommendation to deny based on the recommendation given by city staff to deny the THC license for Anna Tobacco at New Prague.
So you're making the motion?
Yes, I'm making the motion.
Okay. And I will second that. Anyone have any questions, any more comments or anything on this subject? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposition? Okay, passes 4-0. All right. Since we've took off letter B, now we're at miscellaneous. Bruce, anything,
I do not have anything.
anything okay? Maggie, anything you'd like to discuss?
I do not.
Sean?
No.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Hey, well, I got some, no. I did get a letter from the League of Minnesota Cities, basically stating that our representative, Terry Steyer, for our district, our area, was giving a Minnesota Cities Legislator of Distinction for 2025. So I was supposed to acknowledge that. They asked me to acknowledge that, and in regarding to his work on the Commission on Pensions and Retirement to help secure passage of the legislature to address public safety duty disabilities with the goal of taking care of injured employees while stabilizing the Public Employees Retirement Association, Police and Fire Plan. So that's the reason why he's getting this distinction. Other thing, and I did mention this at the EDA, I've had some, a couple people talk to me about the murals in town. Ken was so nice to get the information back right away. We have 3 murals in town. One is on the Edward Jones Building, the band. One is on the Utilities Building, and then one is on the neck and back clinic. The band mural is kind of the one that someone addressed to me that they was asked me if I would help fundraising, or how can we get that redone? And so I did bring it up to the ADA. We did kind of talk about it. I'm going to talk to the Historical Society. I know in the Planning Commission, they're trying to get the downtown district, historic district, and maybe some of that, intertwined. But I just wanted to bring it up so that if anyone does address it to you, that regarding the murals in town, I am looking into it, and we're going to see, Nick Slavic was very positive. He said with his connections, he probably could get a lot of the paint free and things like that. But I think we need to look at not just one of them. I know I think it was the Czech Heritage Club who did get some money from the Czech Republic for that. I don't know how much, but it just was addressed as I was at the Checkout New Prague event. So I just want to let you know that I'm going to kind of look into some things like that, just to see what our options are and how we can, maybe eventually, if we get them redone, how do we make sure that they stay? Because I think people kind of like them. So, that's all I had. So if nothing else, I guess I'll make a motion to adjourn,
So moved.
and I'll second that. So if there's nothing else on the agenda, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposition? All right. Thank you for coming, everyone.